It is the full moon of September 2023, and it is in the same sign as Chiron, the fire sign of Aries. So Chiron has been in Aries since 2019, and that means that Chiron had recently completed its cycle around the zodiac, and then we came into this new energy, like basically ready for more chaos. So the energy of this full moon is so raw and so real, and I had both love and hate moments with it as I was going through it myself. Now, the signs that are going to be most affected are Aries, Libra, Cancer, and Capricorn. So if you have that as your moon sign, your Venus sign, rising sign, anything, that means you're going to be more intensely affected by this full moon. But you might find that, for example, if you're a Virgo and this full moon is in your 8th house, it's really affecting you on an intense, deep emotional level. So Chiron in moon and Aries. I love it when the moon and Chiron are in the same sign, because that brings a more powerful healing energy, especially on an emotional level. And the way Aries heals is not the way that we typically think of healing, because Aries is a fire sign. And normally when we think of healing, we're a little more likely to think of water, maybe thinking of earth, getting some like good, healthy, leafy green vegetables in your system, or taking a nice bath, cleansing yourself of anything that ails you. We don't normally think of fire, but what can fire do? Fire can cauterize a wound, so it's just as powerful for healing as anything else is, but it's not the soothing, calm, comfortable, slow-paced healing that we usually think of when we think of healing. So whatever we are saying goodbye to right now, whatever we are fully processing, we are burning a bridge to prevent it from being able to get to us again. And this might be the kind of thing that really screams as it dies. Now, before I go any further, I want to say thank you so much to everyone who is on my Patreon. I have so many wonderful people on there, and I'm so grateful for them because they are helping me generate an income from creating astrology content, so it's not always readings all the time, and so that I have time to actually create content. And one of the things I love doing is writing horoscopes for the new moon and the full moon. You can get your general horoscope for free on my website, penny-astrology.com. And from there, if you decide you want to read more about love and money for your sign, then you can click the link and you can sign up for $11 a month, and you can get your love and money horoscope in addition to your general horoscope. But even here and now, I'm going to go over a brief description of kind of how this is affecting every sign. I think I might go ahead and draw a card for each sign as well. And while I do that, my cards are actually down here, so I'm going to go get them. I'm going to tell a story. So today, the day of the full moon, there was a woman who was upset about something. I think she was having furniture delivered, and they didn't do what she thought they were going to do. They weren't willing to pick up her old furniture. So she got on the back of the truck. She hopped in the delivery truck and was screaming, extremely distraught that they would not pick up her furniture. And I found that to be such a relatable moment, because I felt like that too today. And I wasn't in the back of a delivery truck screaming, but that is essentially how I felt today. So I'm gonna go ahead and shuffle my deck here, and I'm gonna get a card for each sign just for a little more insight as to what each sign of the zodiac is going through for this full moon. And I personally love to read the horoscopes for my moon sign, potentially more so than anything else, because that's my emotions. And I mean, it's a moon transit after all, so why not? You can of course read the horoscope for your Venus sign and, try to apply it more to your love and relationships. That can even be platonic friendships and just, having all around general pleasant relationships with people. And you can look at your rising sign, of course. But anyway, we're gonna get started. We're gonna talk about how this transit is affecting Aries. So for Aries, this has a lot to do with self-identity and things that might have negatively been impacting your self-identity that you are burning through. So the card I got for you is Four of Cups. So Aries, you might be feeling like you're really not happy with yourself, with certain circumstances in your life right now. But this card is saying that great things are being brought to you in life. There are many beautiful blessings, and it might feel like it's not the kind of blessing that you wanted it to be. And I'm getting specifically that it's not showing up in the way that you expected it to or hoped it to. You might have been working on yourself in some way, you know, specifically your self-image. It might have something to do with your body, fitness or something along those lines. And you wanted some kind of like recognition, or you were hoping that people would notice this thing or react in a certain way, and they didn't quite react in the way that you were expecting. But what I'm getting is that they did in fact notice what you have done, and they did enjoy it and appreciate it and admire you for it, but they just didn't express it in a way that you were actively able to understand. So Taurus now, for Taurus, this is affecting like really deep psychological stuff, like things you've been trying to process, and there might be a certain degree of overload and overwork involved in that as well. So the card I got for Taurus is the Five of Wands. So there's someone or even a force of nature, like just something in your life that you feel like you are really fighting against right now, and it feels very obstructive. It feels like you can't move forward in the way that you were hoping to move forward because of this and because of what was going on. And the message I'm getting here is that this is really just a feeling. It feels really big right now, but it's not going to be as obstructive as it feels in this moment. Like right now, it feels like things aren't really going anywhere. But this is part of the process. You know, like I said earlier, this is the problem screaming as it fades, as it essentially fades, and as things start to become more peaceful once again. But there's like a little outburst before you're able to move forward. Next, we have Gemini. For Gemini, this is affecting groups, your relationships with friends. And the card I got for you is the Hierophant. So the Hierophant has a lot of religious association to it, and I'm getting that there's like a judgmental type of energy going on here, and you might specifically feel like it's someone else in your life being judgmental of you, or you might just feel like other people aren't on the same page as you. They don't understand what you're going through. They don't understand that you're doing the best that you can in life, and you have a lot of fear, concern, and worries about them judging you. But I'm actually getting an energy that this is something you were also putting out. You're putting out something that is somewhat pompous, like almost holier than thou type of thing. You know, I think the tarot is being cheeky here with the appearance of the Hierophant. So I know this might be a little bit out of character for Gemini, may or may not be depending on the Gemini, but you're putting on a little bit of a holier than thou attitude about things, and it's making things seem worse than they actually are. It might be creating some fights, and there might be a certain degree of projection where you assume someone else is judging you because you are so firm in your way, and that you know that you're doing everything the right way, and you don't want to hear any type of criticism, especially from someone whose views you don't necessarily agree with. Next, we have Cancer. So for Cancer, this is showing up in the 10th house, which is about goals, career, and any type of like long-term planning or anything you've been hoping for. So for Cancer, this is a lot of pressure that you have put on yourself. It might have initially come from an outside source, like family, people you care about who you were trying to impress, and it feels like a lot of pressure. So for Cancer, I got the Lovers card. Okay, so another thing the 10th house can symbolize, which it's easy to forget, but it's status, which includes marriage. It includes committed relationships, and so for that reason, it can have association with things that are of a romantic nature. So the fact that we got the Lovers card here, I think it is mentioning your partnership, and it feels like there's a certain dynamic where maybe you faced certain issues with your parents in the past, but in your mind you've kind of replaced the issues that you had with your parents now with the issues you're having with a lover. And it's almost like on a subconscious level, you are looking for someone else who can be like critical and demanding, or whatever it was that you experienced with your parents. And it's almost like you just expect to have that role in your life, and you weren't ready to live without it. So even if this is causing a lot of stress, I think there's a certain part of you that feels cared about when you have this dynamic, whether it's a healthy dynamic or an unhealthy dynamic, or for some Cancers, because this is a general reading, it's not specific. For some Cancers, the other person might be the problem. And for some Cancers, it might be the Cancer who's actually the problem. But this reading isn't actually going to tell you that. It's just kind of explaining why you have this dynamic going on. Next, we have Leo. So for Leo, this is about expansion of the mind, growing, existing on a more powerful, profound way. And this is kind of a pivotal moment for deciding where you want to go from here. Like, what's the next step in life? What's the next goalpost you have set out for yourself? So the card we have here is the Two of Coins. So I'm getting an indecisive energy regarding this, and you really already have everything figured out, and you're at a point where you know what it is you need to do, but you're just at this pivotal moment where you decide whether or not you're going to believe in yourself. Is it worth the risk to believe in yourself, or should you let self-doubt win? And the answer is fairly obvious, but quite frankly, that is what is going on for you right now, Leo. Next, we have Virgo. So for Virgo, I mentioned earlier, this is going to be about deep emotional wounds and things you are still processing. There might be a feeling of betrayal or some intense type of trauma or feeling of loss. And you got to burn that away. You got to let it go today. The card I'm getting here is Two of Wands. I'm seeing two paths before you. One perpetuates the problem and allows you to continue going through the same hell that you've been going through and the same hell that got you here in the first place. And then the other path is basically a path to happier and more productive things. I'm seeing like flowers and things actually growing, and it's just a lot more pleasant. And it's not that you have to live in denial. Like, yes, what you went through still happened, regardless of which path you actually choose right now. It's still real. It still happened. Life is still not perfect. There's always the balance in the world of the good and the bad, and that whole yin and yang. Everything, it's all still there, and you don't have to live in denial. And as you see and appreciate the roses growing, you can still see that those roses have thorns. You can still see that even the beautiful things in life are not harmless, and oftentimes are not without pain either. So that's the decision you're faced with. Which route do you really want to go, Virgo? Next, we have Libra. For Libra, this is opposite you, so it might be especially intense for you, specifically in regards to relationships, letting things that have hurt you in relationships go so that you can move on to something healthier. And very fitting here, we got the Tower card, and this is the card of at least perceived disaster. It might feel like everything is bad, nothing is going to work out properly, nothing's going to work out the way that you actually want it to. It feels like there's something you really, really care about and you are worried for its life, for its safety. And it's something metaphorical, like it's probably like a relationship, and it's not that anyone's like physically in danger. But you're just worried for the safety and the security of your ability to have a healthy and happy relationship. You might feel like that's slipping away before your very eyes and you're starting to lose hope. Now, the Tower card usually means that things are not as bad as they seem. And like I said earlier, this is like a fire that's burning away the things that are not serving us. So it's one of those things where things get worse before they get better. And next, we are moving on to Scorpio. For my dear Scorpios, this has been affecting your house of health and work. And there's been like a lot of kind of warning signs that you need to do more to take care of your health. You might notice you're having certain aches or pains in your body. Maybe you're overworking yourself. Maybe you're not getting enough water. So this moon is an extra push to make sure that you stop doing whatever you're doing that is self-destructive, or stop forgetting to take care of yourself. The card I got here is Judgment. And what this is telling me is that one of the reasons you're not taking care of yourself is because you have had harsh judgment against yourself. And that's being exposed today. What kind of cruel narrative have you been telling yourself sadistically to make yourself suffer and to prevent yourself from being able to live a healthy life? And you do have a tendency to be kind of intense, both with exercise and with your work. You have a habit of overworking yourself, and you don't want to acknowledge that. You spend a lot of time being in denial about it. But something today is really just shining the light on the problem you have perpetuated for yourself, and it's very plain to see right now. But when in doubt, drink more water is always good advice. And with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and drink some too. You should as well. So good. So good. Refreshing. Okay, next we have Sagittarius. And for Sagittarius, this is in the house of flirtation, fun, and it can be like a very extreme place for emotions. You know, it can be extreme happiness, extreme emotional pain. And that's what I'm getting right now. I'm getting extreme emotional pain coming from my Sagittarius peoples. So the card I got for you is Wheel of Fortune. I think one of the things that's unsettling for Sagittarius right now is you don't know what's going to happen. You feel like you don't know what exactly the future holds. You likely have some victories you're celebrating in life. I know a lot of Sagittarians have had good things happening in their careers right now. But you don't necessarily trust it. You don't necessarily know if these things are going to make you happy. You don't know how secure they're gonna be. And I'm really just feeling like a lot of doubt right now coming from Sagittarius. Not knowing what exactly is before you, and not necessarily being optimistic about it either. There might specifically be some type of cycle of abuse or bullying that you are still getting wrapped up in, and it feels like it's something you've experienced in the past and it's just kind of repeating itself, and it's hard for you to get out of this cycle, and it's really affecting your self-esteem and your ability to be happy about your accomplishments in life, even though you have had so many grand accomplishments lately. And then even when things are going well, you doubt that it's even going to continue to go well. You doubt that the good things you've accomplished are truly good things. So that's something that's going on, and I feel like this is a combination of being about confidence, but then also happiness. So this is about getting rid of the things that are impeding on your ability to be happy and experience fun and joy in life, both in relationships and in your work and in your free time and your creative projects. Next, we have Capricorn. So for Capricorn, this is about home and family. There could be a big decision regarding home and family that is being made right now at this time. And the card I got for you is Six of Coins. So I'm getting that you are being very generous, very loving, very kind, and you've come from a place where you just want to give and give more, but you're starting to feel like you personally are running out of things to give. You're running on empty. Your cup has run dry. It's not that there isn't as much left, but at least feels like there isn't, because you're not really giving yourself time to recharge, and you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself. Basically, you want to be able to swoop in and save everyone else from their problems all the time, and you haven't really given yourself permission to recharge or to just let yourself be. And the message I'm getting here is that in being kind to yourself, you'll also be able to be more kind to others. You'll be able to provide more for others once you stop putting all of this pressure on yourself. And some of it might come from your mother, your father, anyone who raised you, and that feeling of never being good enough. There might be some cruel words that were said that still buzz around in your head without being particularly helpful about it. And right now you just feel like you're in such need of kindness, like almost like a desperate need for kindness. Like you just really wish someone would tell you that they're proud of you for what you've been doing, especially someone in your family. You wish they would acknowledge and, give you the praise and lift you up the way you need to be lifted up. I remember in my horoscope for Capricorn, I wrote something about how, there's certain things that we have to do alone in life. So I know I get sick of doing it too, but remember, you always have to lift yourself up as much as you can, because ultimately you're the most important person who can do that. You're the MVP of your own life. Okay, next we have Aquarius. I feel like I need to recharge myself, because I've been going through all these signs and I don't want Aquarius to get less than. I don't want Pisces to either. Okay, so for Aquarius, this is regarding communication. This is regarding things that have been said and the daily interactions that you have with people. There might be some gossip that's been buzzing around and interfering with your ability to really know what's real and what's not, and to trust yourself and to trust people in your life. It feels like there's too many opinions and too many controversies going on at this time. So the card I got for you is Two of Swords, which is exactly on point with what I just said. I swear I hadn't looked at the card yet, but this is about feeling like you're really at a loss, like you have a heavy decision to make, and sometimes this card has a blindfold on. I think in the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, it does have a blindfold if I'm remembering properly. But this is a decision that weighs very heavily on your heart, and you are not really seeing the full picture of it just yet. I think because it's been made to feel so personal and it can feel all-consuming at times, And Aquarians usually have a good ability to see beyond themselves, like almost like you guys are able to step outside of your own body and look at your own life and see the grand scheme of things, see how everything comes into play. And that also helps you understand where you fit in like a puzzle. But you've started to doubt yourself more. You started to feel like, you know, maybe you don't exactly fit in anywhere. And it's in good part because of the mean words other people have said to you and the way they've gotten in your head and it affected you psychologically. So you really need to clear out your own headspace, clear out your own mind and your own thoughts, get rid of some of those unhealthy thoughts, and then basically just restore yourself back to your natural state so that you can see the full picture. And yes, there are things that are going on right now that you are missing because of this tunnel vision, essentially, that was created by negative thinking, by negative words, by other people like enforcing their opinions and their very limited perspective on you. And for a sign that has such a big perspective naturally, it really sucks to have other people convince you to limit your perspective the same way they've limited their own, so that you can have the same problem they have. So anyway, that was the reading for Aquarius, and now we have Pisces. And for Pisces, this has to do with material blessings. It has to do with what you provide for the world around you, what you offer in life, and also, you know, how the world gives back to you for those offerings. What I got here is the Four of Wands, and across the board, this is a pretty good card. I'm really feeling that you are being acknowledged and celebrated, but it might not be publicly. It might not be in the way you hope to be. It's like, it's very nonchalant because you've helped other people with stuff in a way that makes them feel more secure in their own life. And they really feel that you have brought them a great blessing. And things might have felt shaky for you recently, especially because there's some oppositions to your 12th house right now. But this is a message that almost karmically, because of the safety and the solace you have provided for others, like that is being provided for you too. So things might feel unstable, but really they are very stable because you have, you know, guardians who are looking out for you, whether it's like actual people in your life who are looking out for you, or it might be like a guardian angel, ancestors, spirit, that type of thing. So anyway, I hope this provided someone with some type of help. Please let me know that my work was worth my time, and let me know how exactly it helped you and how this full moon has affected you. And look, don't be embarrassed if you had a breakdown like that lady in the truck, because I tell her story because I'm too embarrassed to tell mine. Okay? All right, bye guys.